to Deliciously with Ara. Now we're gonna make tonkatsu. So tonkatsu is basically pork cutlet deep fried with a special sauce that we eat it later on, and it's a sort of like a childhood all-time favorite, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy making this as well because it's something that we all probably have had tried before. So now let's start. We first need our pork cutlet. I got here pork steak cut, so it's really up to you whether you want it like a thicker or a smaller or a bigger one. The Korean tonkatsu, the difference of this with other kinds of tonkatsu that you probably know is that we make it very thin and wide. So I have here my pork steak cuts, although my pork steak already has been natutok-tutok na siya with a knife to make it soften, but you don't really have to do this kind of cuts beforehand cooking it. Or if you have like a hammer or something like a big bottle to make pukpok, it's a lot better to make it flat and thinner. Now, before we hammer our pork, because it's gonna splatter everywhere and we don't want to cause too much bacteria spreading out in your kitchen, we put it in a plastic bag like this just to cover it up. So probably I'm just gonna get two on my chopping board, cover it up, and slightly hammer it. Don't be so angry when you have to hammer them down or else it will tear like paper. So just like slight enough to spread it around. So see, it's a magic. From a small cut of pork, we now have something very wide. And probably if you have a bigger cut, it's okay. So I have it here. So don't make it like very, very thin, just enough to make it soften. So now here on my pork, I'm gonna season them with salt and pepper. Since manipis lang siya, not so much salt, just a little bit, probably like 1 pinch per piece. And some pepper. So now this is ready, I'm gonna heat up my oil. And while I'm waiting for my oil to heat up, I'm gonna prepare the coating that we're gonna use for our pork to fry. So before frying my pork, I'm gonna be coating them in flour, egg, and breadcrumb mixture. So it's better that you lay them down accordingly in order, so we just have to go stage by stage. So first my flour, and I'm gonna break my eggs. And let's add a little bit of salt and mix it up together. And lastly is gonna be my breadcrumbs. So I'm gonna prepare my plates accordingly. So now let's dip them and prepare them to fry. And now before I go to eggs, I always use my forks because sometimes, diba, when we put our fingers straight to the egg and dumidikit, nagiging parang cakey ang ating mga fingers. I personally don't like it, so I always use my fork to dip it on my egg. And straight to my breadcrumbs. So now my oil is very hot. I'm gonna deep fry my pork steak. So now, as you can see, if it's golden brown, time to get it out from the fire and strain them. Now my pork is ready. I'm gonna make our special tonkatsu sauce. First of all, we're gonna make the roux using our butter and flour. The ratio of the butter and flour is 1:1. So I have here 1/2 cup of my butter. So before I turn on the fire, I'm gonna put it already. And I'm gonna add 1/2 cup of my flour as well. And we're gonna turn on the fire. Dahil madali talaga masunog ang ating flour, I actually prefer to turn it on slowly. like on a low to medium fire. And then i-melt natin ang butter together with my flour. So slowly melt your butter as well as your flour. I-mix natin ng i-mix to make the roux. Be careful not to burn your flour, but I want to have is like sort of like a slight brown color. Whatever the color of your roux is, it will actually also depict the color of your sauce later. So if you want something lighter, you can actually just use it right after it's melted. But if you want like a very dark, like deep color, you can actually cook more the roux. So the secret to this is really in low fire, na dahan-dahan. And as you can see, medyo na caramel color na yung ating roux. We're gonna now put in our water. So I'm gonna first add in 1 cup of water. So 1 cup. And then let's mix it again. So now I've added 1 cup of water. You can see that my roux has dissolved. It became very creamy. I'm gonna lower my fire and add again 1 more cup of water. And 1/2 cup of my tomato ketchup. Actually, this is actually just the half of the regular cup that I normally use. So 1/2. And also 1/2 cup of my sugar. And the Worcestershire sauce, it's kind of heavy to pronounce it, but Worcestershire sauce, you can get like this. We're gonna add also 1/2 cup. So here, finally, I have my 1/2 cup of Worcestershire sauce. It's hard to pronounce, but it's very amazing on the smell and also the flavor. Now we're gonna all mix them up. And I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. Siguro like around 3-4 pinches. And my 1 cup of milk. This fresh milk. And we're all gonna mix it together. So now my sauce is in very beautiful orange brown color. So I'm gonna turn it off and cool it down a little bit while I prepare my plate for my tonkatsu. In Korea, normally when we eat tonkatsu, we eat with a side dish of cabbage. And the sauce that we grew up with was mayonnaise and ketchup. So I'm gonna show you how to do like the traditional, the childhood way, how I used to eat it before. So on my plate, I'm gonna get a cabbage. And we're gonna, if you have a slicer, it's a lot better. But if you don't have, we can always just use our patience and our knife. We're gonna cut in very small strips. So here I have my cabbage. I'm gonna loosen them up a little bit and put it on my plate. And let's cut our tonkatsu so it's easier to eat it later. Of course, it's really up to you if you wanna cut this up while you're eating better, but I actually prefer it pre-cut. So let's just cut it like finger thickness, I guess. So here's my tonkatsu, the Korean version. And the secret, of course, is the sauce. I hope you enjoy cooking with me. Thank you and see you next time. Bye! I love tonkatsu. Tonkatsu used to be like our special food. You know, when there was birthdays or special occasions, this was our always go-to food. And I'm pretty sure that you'll enjoy as well. I can feel the reminiscence of my childhood just in this plate. Very good to try.